The world doesn't always bend to your will. Sometimes it sharpens its edges and dares you to walk the blade. I learned that truth in a glass-walled office on the 17th floor of a corporate tower, where ambition clashed with loyalty, and trust was a currency no one could afford. My name is Elena Marquez. This is the story of how I clawed my way out of a toxic workplace, not with vengeance but with resilience, a quiet fire that burned brighter than their cruelty ever could. I wasn't born to break. I was forged to endure. And in that hostile office, where every day felt like a battle for my soul, I didn't just survive. I thrived. I was 29 when I walked into Apex Dynamics, a marketing firm that glittered with promise. Fresh off a master's degree in communications, I'd spent my 20s scraping by, waiting tables, freelancing blog posts, dreaming of a corner office and a chance to shape the world with words. Apex was my golden ticket. They called me a creative strategist, handed me a sleek laptop, and sat me at a desk with a view of the city skyline. I felt like I'd made it. My parents, immigrants who'd worked double shifts to send me to college, cried when I told them about the job. My friends threw me a party. I was the girl who'd beaten the odds, who'd turned grit into opportunity. But Apex wasn't the dream it seemed. Beneath the polished veneer, glass walls, catered lunches, team-building retreats, lurked a machine that chewed up hope and spit out despair. The first cracks appeared in my second week. My manager, Claire, was a woman with a smile like a switchblade. She'd praise you in meetings, then shred your work in private emails. "Elena, your ideas are quaint," she'd say, her voice dripping with condescension. I'd nod, rewrite my proposals, stay late, determined to prove myself. I didn't know then that Claire thrived on control, that she saw my hunger as a threat. The team wasn't much better. There was Ryan, the golden boy who took credit for my campaigns. Priya, who whispered rumors about my attitude to climb the ladder. And Mark, who'd lingered too long at my desk, his compliments laced with something darker. I told myself it was just office politics, the price of ambition. I'd grown up in a neighborhood where you dodged worse than snide remarks to survive. I could handle this. But handling it came at a cost. The hostility wasn't loud. It was insidious. Deadlines shifted without warning. Meetings were scheduled during my lunch breaks. My inbox overflowed with passive-aggressive notes. "Elena, I expected more from you," Claire would write after rejecting my third draft of a pitch. I'd stare at the screen, my chest tight, wondering what I'd done wrong. I started skipping meals to work through lunch, my reflection in the office windows growing gaunt. At night, I'd lie awake, replaying every interaction, searching for the moment I'd failed. My best friend, Sophia, noticed the change. "You're not yourself, Elle," she said over coffee one weekend. "You're letting them dim your light." I brushed her off. I couldn't quit. Not when my parents were still paying off their mortgage. Not when I'd fought so hard to get here. I had to make it work. The breaking point came 6 months in, during a pitch for a major client. I'd spent weeks crafting a campaign. Sleepless nights, endless revisions, data crunched until my eyes burned. It was bold, innovative, the kind of work that could have redefined my career. The client loved it. They shook my hand, called it visionary. For the first time in months, I felt alive. But in the debrief, Claire took the stage. "My team executed my vision perfectly," she said, her eyes sliding past me. Ryan chimed in, claiming he'd guided my research. The room applauded. And I sat there, invisible. My work stolen. My voice silenced. That night, I cried in my car, the city lights blurring through my tears. I wasn't just fighting a toxic workplace. I was fighting to be seen. Something shifted in me after that. I could have quit, walked away, let Apex claim another casualty. But I'd been raised on stories of my grandmother, who'd crossed borders with nothing but a suitcase and a prayer. She didn't break when the world turned cruel. Neither would I. I started small. documenting every email, every slight, every stolen idea. I saved screenshots of Claire's contradictory feedback, recorded timestamps of Ryan's edits to my work. I wasn't building a case for revenge. I was building a shield. I also began to study the game. I watched how Claire manipulated narratives, how Ryan charmed the C-suite, how Priya played the victim to deflect blame. I didn't mimic their tactics, I wasn't them, but I learned their rules. Knowledge became my armor. The turning point came unexpectedly, in the form of an ally. David, a senior strategist from another department, noticed my work during a cross-team project. He was older, nearing retirement with no patience for office games. "You've got talent, Elena," he said one day over coffee. "Don't let them bury it." He started inviting me to strategy sessions, giving me a platform to share ideas directly with leadership. Claire hated it, but she couldn't stop it, not without exposing her bias. David's support wasn't just professional, it was personal. He'd lost his daughter to a workplace that crushed her spirit, and he saw echoes of her in me. "You're stronger than you know," he'd say. His belief lit a spark I thought I'd lost. I wasn't alone anymore. With David's backing, I took risks. I pitched directly to clients, bypassing Claire's gatekeeping. I collaborated with other teams, building a network that valued my work. Slowly the narrative shifted. Clients requested me by name. Executives noticed my contributions. Claire's grip loosened, but she didn't go quietly. She doubled down, spreading rumors that I was difficult, questioning my loyalty in meetings. Ryan and Priya followed her lead, icing me out of team lunches, sabotaging my projects with oversights. The hostility peaked during a company-wide review, when Claire gave me a scathing evaluation, calling my performance inconsistent. I could have crumbled. Instead, I fought back, not with anger but with evidence. I presented my documentation to HR. Emails, timestamps, client feedback. I didn't demand Claire's head. I demanded fairness. The climax wasn't a single moment, but a series of quiet victories. HR investigated. Claire wasn't fired, but she was demoted, her influence gutted. Ryan's plagiarism came to light, costing him a promotion. Priya, sensing the tide turning, jumped ship. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. I'd already won. By my second year at Apex, I was leading campaigns, mentoring new hires, shaping the firm's creative direction. The office wasn't perfect. Toxicity lingers like damp rot, but I'd carved out a space where I could thrive. I'd turned their hostility into fuel, their doubt into defiance. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building something unbreakable. Looking back, I see the lesson woven through every battle. Resilience isn't about enduring pain in silence. It's about choosing yourself when the world tries to erase you. I could have let Apex define me, my worth, my future. Instead, I redefined it. I thrived not because I was fearless, but because I was faithful to my dreams, my values, my right to exist unbowed. To anyone trapped in a hostile place, know this: you are not the poison they pour. You are the antidote. You are the fire that burns through their lies. And when you rise, you won't just survive. You'll shine so brightly, they'll wish they'd never tried to dim you.